Morning, I'm Steve Lentini, Southwestern Consulting, and Lord and Lentini. So today I'm talking about the top producers, the habits of top producers in sales and leadership. And I'm focusing on CEOs, vice presidents of sales, executive vice presidents of sales, sales managers, leaders of salespeople. So, leaders, why am I focusing on leaders of salespeople? If you can improve the productivity of your sales teams, and by the way, we're in June, right? So that when you think of um, your goals, where are you? Are you close to your goals? Are you exceeding your goals? That's great. Let me applaud you. The thing about leading sales teams is typically there are the top producers, then there's the middle group, and often the bottom group, which sales leaders say, well, let's call them out every year. I once met someone who said to me, well, we're going to cut out the bottom 10%. We do that every year. He even got up in front of a sales meeting and said, some of you won't be in this room next year. I mean, just a demonstration of poor leadership. There are people in the middle group that have gone flat for a few years. And for managers, what I tell them to do is sit with them and ask them, hey, everything worked well 2 years ago. Let's review what you were doing back then. What was your behavior? Let's identify some things that worked and perhaps discuss, are you doing them today? Is there something that you can revive from what you did successfully 2 years ago? So it's about coaching people. The other thing that leaders often miss today is that they're asking people this: what did you close lately? That's what I call whipping the ox instead of pushing the cart. Sales leaders often feel like they have to whip the ox. It's not what sales teams and sales professionals need today. What they require today is someone who's in the trenches with them, helping them win. Now, you may make some calls with them, and I recommend visiting the top 20% of your clients that are giving you 80% of your bottom line, the 80% of your results. And also, though, looking at things another way. Who are your best clients? Who are the most profitable? Who are the easiest to serve? Why? What are the traits about those top clients? And help your team identify more of those for future clients. Can you target people and help them target people that align with your ideal clients? Then there's good clients. They have a higher cost to serve than others, and they do respect your processes. They pay you on time. Maybe occasionally they fall below the acceptable terms, whether you want everybody paid within 60 days or 45 days or 30 days. It doesn't matter what you define that as. What matters is looking at the people and measuring the people that stay within your boundaries. They're good clients. They may not be as profitable as the ideal clients. They're still good. So help your team identify the good and the ideal clients so that you can identify two things. One is targets. Now, targets for future clients won't necessarily be ideal or good. So how do you identify that? You help them craft questions and you encourage your team to be curious so that they find the fit. And so you work with them starting with the end in mind. The end is, these are the ideal, these are the good. Let's establish some questions to uncover whether they're ideal or good future clients. That way, your team can find the fit and develop their curiosity. And if you're not helping them develop their curiosity and helping them identify who's good and who's ideal, you're not helping them win. That's the place to be today. And then to start teaching people, or hire someone who will teach them this, helping people buy. I wrote the book Helping People Buy in 2021, and then Dave Brown wrote Servant Selling. He's one of our senior partners at Southwestern Consulting. And again, it's all based on the theory of helping people buy. And that's showing up authentically and having a conversation about how can you help them become more profitable, productive, solve problems. It's not high pressure selling. High pressure salespeople have commission breath, and it stinks. And it's not the preferred way of the buying public today. Think about when you buy something. Do you like a high pressure salesperson that follows you all around, whether it's for a car or for a service or for products or for rehabbing your home? Most people today prefer an authentic seller, someone who they can develop a relationship with, and they make a connection within the first few minutes because they don't feel pressure. If they feel this pressure, feel that as I do that against the screen. There's only one way you can go from pressure as a person, that's away from it. So when you ask questions and you're curious and you're genuinely there to help them buy something, even if it's not you, they're going to sense it and they'll be with you to answer all your questions. And that's what you need to train your team to do. And you support it as a leader. Helping people buy is the way to sell today, and helping your team win is the way to manage them today. Now, let me give you some tips about the bottom producers. You had a cost of hiring them. You orientated them. You trained them. If you can find a way to make them productive as a leader, you just saved your company a lot of time and money. There is a way. And you have to have a conversation with them and be invested in helping them win. Not everybody will win in that group. In the bottom, say, some companies do a third. The top producers, the middle, and the bottom. If you can find a way to make 10 or 20% of the bottom producers more productive, and typically I can tell you it's their behavior, their self-talk, the way they manage the conversation in their mind, what I call the acorn brain, that little voice that operates incessantly in my head, and I believe everyone's head. Top producers manage it well. Middle producers, even those who've gotten stuck for a while, are stuck in that conversation. Their self-talk is poor. They probably don't have a vision board. They don't have a coach. Top producers probably have a coach. Top companies have a training program with coaching, like Southwestern Consulting. So we assign modules for people to learn, and then a coach that walks with them through the modules and listens for the individual blocks that each person might have and helps them through their individual blocks, because not everybody on the sales team will have the same challenges, especially if they've been stuck for a few years, and especially if they're in the lower rung of producers. A manager can sit with people in the lower rung of producers, in the bottom 33%, and probably save 20% of them, which saves the company a lot of money. It isn't about motivating them. They can find out, help them identify a behavior that they're stuck in and why it's not working. That saves the company a lot of money, and a lot of managers are not invested in that. They're just looking at what did you close lately? And that's what I encourage managers to get away from. You develop a relationship with your team. You develop a connection with them. You model the behavior you want them to follow with your future clients and your clients. There is a way to do it, but you got to prove that to yourself. Don't take my word for it. By the way, I've had clients for 23 years, 20 years. They're still with me. I've been with them long enough to help them through the bumps, to help them manage salespeople, including people who they thought they were going to have to let go of. And they turned into productive salespeople when we together identified a new way of managing them, because not everyone's the same. Each personality is slightly different. Now they can fall into groups, and there can be up to 12 different groups if you use Everything Disc, the Wiley program. And I'm an authorized partner of Wiley, Everything Disc. And when we help people identify where their future clients fall in the disc, often they make a connection and make a sale with people they were previously not closing. So there's a tip about closing. It's usually the salesperson not making a connection and not speaking to the person in the way they prefer to be communicated with. So the golden rule is treat everyone how you want to be treated. The platinum rule is treat everyone how they want to be treated. That requires a certain authenticity and presence. And they can learn it. Salespeople can learn it. Managers can learn it, so it can help you more effectively connect with the different people, the different personality styles on your sales team. Someone might not be producing because you're not making a connection with them. And that requires making an effort. If you're treating everyone the same, you're missing out on people who could produce and save your company a lot of money, because you know what it costs to hire someone, orientate them, train them, especially if you're using a recruiter. You're paying a fee of their salary. Now, if you want to get rid of them in 90 days, then the recruiter has to give you somebody new. But if you wait a year or a year and a half or 2 years, as some companies do, and they don't do the work to discover how to motivate that person, then you flush that investment down the drain. I worked with a client who had someone that was not performing for a year and a half, and then everything clicked because we kept working with the management and the salesperson. Everybody was adapting and adjusting. We did things like a 360 to help the person identify things they could improve in the eyes of those around them. They got valuable feedback. Management did the same thing. They got a 360 and they learned how their peers and their employees viewed them. And they learned some things they could do differently. That requires a level of vulnerability that a lot of companies aren't willing to take. They're not willing to take that step. You have to prove that to yourself. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone's word for it. Never follow anyone or anything blindly, but make your life the experiment. If you're not questioning your answers, who will? I love the book by Osho, Your Answers Questioned. Look it up. It's a great book. But it's about the philosophy that the title points you to. If you're not questioning your answers as a leader, then today you're not flexible enough to lead, especially sales teams. Most top salespeople are somewhat unmanageable. So that requires a lot of flexibility on behalf of the managers. So take some time to think about what I'm saying. It's important as a manager that you be flexible and start to question your answers and then look at the customers that are ideal. Why are they so profitable? Why are they so easy to deal with? What do they like about your company? That involves a conversation with your ideal clients. Why did they choose you? Why do they continue to choose you? What can you do better? They'll appreciate that. The same with the good clients. And then instead of firing the clients that are on the bottom, which a lot of companies do, why don't you get better at sagacity, discerning your ideal and good clients and help your sales team build questions and their curiosity with your approval as to who's ideal and who's good, and weed out the ones up front who will not be a fit. You'll save your company a lot of money and the embarrassment of having to fire them. Amazing how many companies don't do it, the activity based costing, to find out who are the most productive. And who among your sales team is enrolling and closing people who aren't productive. And do you know why they're enrolling and closing clients that aren't productive? Because you're pressuring them with what did you close lately? Get out there and close something. So do you think they care about your company at that point, or who's ideal or good or who's profitable? They're just closing someone. And while that may be unethical, who's the cause of it? Leadership. You may not like to hear some of these things from me, but that's where I start when you hire me to come in and look at what your process is. We have a manager's edge training program that comes with a coach. You commit to it for a year. We have a top producers edge training program that comes with a coach. We also come in and do seminars. And we like to do a reinforcement schedule every other month for a year, every month for a year. But we craft that program with you to address your needs. That's what we do at Southwestern Consulting. And we're very good at it. And I've been the licensee of a national sales training program, so I've seen other programs. Conducted my own, and now I'm aligned with Southwestern Consulting because I love the work. I'm aligned with it. It's helping management win. It's helping salespeople win. It's helping customers win. That's the philosophy. So if you have questions, you can email me. S as in Sam, Lentini, I'll spell it, L as in Linda, E-N as in Nancy, T as in Tom, INI.com. At southwesternconsulting.com. Southwesternconsulting.com. I know you're smart enough to not need the spelling of that. Any questions, again, reach out to me. I'm glad to help.